Have you ever thought about the fact that it isn't only people who can be sophisticated and dexterous in their insidious adventures? What if I tell you that there actually are some representatives of the animal world who are also capable of it? And in fact, it's those animals who aren't usually considered to be the smartest ones, but quite the opposite. Sheep are one of those few representatives of the animal world, in relation to which an extremely unfair stereotype has developed. In fact, sheep are surprisingly smart. They have a good memory and cognitive abilities. The ability to perceive information and process it is rather developed. We hear many negative assumptions about the mental abilities of sheep. In most cases, comparing a person to this stubborn or stupid animal is considered offensive. But are all sheep really what most people think they are? There's definitely at least one exception from this rule. A ram from New Zealand named Shrek turned out to be so prudent and cunning that he could safely walk past a pack of wolves with his head held high and remain untouched. The merino sheep lived on the same farm that's relatives for many years. The peculiarity of the merino sheep is that their wool grows very quickly, and if extra wool doesn't get sheared in time, it can cause the sheep discomfort. Shrek could boast of the title of the most stubborn ram on the farm. Whenever it was time for shearing, he tried to evade this procedure by any means possible. As the day of the planned shearing of all of the rams on the farm was nearing, Shrek used his forehead to knock out the gate and fled to the mountains. The owner of the farm was very upset, thinking that he could certainly be eaten by wolves or other predators. Shrek was gone for 6 years, and the owner has long lost all hope of ever seeing Shrek again. But one day, the local residents noticed a strange creature of a rather impressive size on the slope of one of the mountains. When they came closer, it was clear that the creature was a runaway ram named Shrek. Over the years, its wool had grown out so much that it turned into a real armor for the ram, which even most toothy wolves couldn't bite through. Thus, Shrek didn't just stop fearing wolves, but even became the creature they feared instead. They say that wolves tried to attack him once, but they simply couldn't bite through the thick wool. Shrek used to walk right in front of them, showing the predators how helpless they were against his multi-layered armor. The runaway ram looked more like a mythical creature than an actual sheep. It didn't just grow out its wool, it also increased its size significantly. Shrek was 3 times larger than an ordinary merino ram, and there was so much wool on him that he could hardly see anything and could barely move. So one day, the locals caught him and used a special tag to determine which farm he used to live on. Returning to civilization, the hairy fugitive didn't just become a legendary hero among his relatives, but also a real star in the human world. Over 1,000 people came to see the shearing of the legendary ram. During the procedure, which was broadcast live on TV in New Zealand, Shrek kept giving people around him a proud and fearless look. The weight of the cut wool was about 30 kilograms, which is 7 times the weight of the wool that can be obtained from a ram of this breed. In Shrek's case, shearing wasn't a choice, it was a necessity, since all the wool was already preventing him from living a normal life. This wool was sold for several $1,000s, and the proceeds were donated to charity. The fugitive ram enjoyed popularity for a long time until he reached the age of 16. Merino sheep live 6 years on average, and thus we can safely say that Shrek didn't just have an interesting and eventful life, but also a very long one. Shrek's owner now remembers his animal with a smile on his face and warmth in his heart. He was truly an amazing ram. After his death, books were written about him and cartoons were made, and even a bronze monument to the animal was erected in his hometown. A merino ram named Shrek always had his own opinion on everything. Not every person is courageous enough to live by their own rules, let alone sheep. Therefore, don't be so quick to make conclusions about these animals, and remember that there are exceptions to every rule. Every sheep may turn out to be smart enough to keep a whole pack of dangerous predators at bay.